A lot of the time when we give people feedback, we're thinking about how we can help them raise the bar. So they're down here and we're figuring out ways we can help them raise the bar and be better to improve. Sometimes I think it's more interesting though when we're giving feedback to help people understand when the bar is too high to begin with and we can help them comfortably lower the bar and yet still be successful. And these are situations where we have the opportunity to tell people that they're overdoing it. And we can do that in a very positive way, but first let me give you some examples. Let's say that somebody's working on a proposal and they've come to you a few different times to help review the verbiage or the wording inside of that proposal. Maybe this is the third or the fourth time, or maybe you've cumulatively spent a couple of hours working on it. At that point, it might help to point out that you really haven't done anything to change, to improve the wording, and instead you're probably just spending too much time worrying about the wording when it's not that important. So you could lower the bar and say maybe just one or two drafts on a proposal is good enough. A second scenario might be video effects. So I'm creating all these videos to help you out with feedback. Now I might have had a video instead of a marker board. I might have had a video where I had animations and bullets flying in. Maybe the screen changed out. Maybe I even had a higher level of quality of recording here for you. And if you had noticed that and you thought a little bit about what I'm trying to teach people, these are ideas I'm trying to convey. And while I could put fancy animations in to help convey these ideas, it probably would be overdoing it. And so if you notice that, you might point out to me, hey, a marker board would work just fine. I'm very likely to even confirm with you that I'm probably overdoing it when you point out a marker board would work just fine, because I might say to you, gosh, you know what? I just thought people wouldn't like a marker board. But in reality, if I'm just teaching people things, a marker board should suffice. And I'd rather spend 5 minutes setting up a marker board than 2 hours adding in animations. A third situation where someone might be overdoing it is trying to eliminate every single ah and when they speak in front of people. I hear about this all the time. I hear about people getting feedback about using ah and too much, to the point where some people try to cut out every ah and from their speech. And at that point, the bar is so high, it's been raised so high, that they don't even seem human anymore because they never make a mistake when they're speaking. Or perhaps they're recording a speech and trying to produce an audio CD, and they're trying to cut every ah and out of that audio CD to the point where the speaking in the audio CD just doesn't seem natural. We make mistakes when we talk. So you could point out in this situation, you know what? An ah or an 10 times in a sentence is probably a problem. But an ah or an one time every 10 minutes is not a problem. It's natural, it's normal. So don't worry about eliminating so many of those. Now, if you get into a situation where you've detected it's possible somebody's overdoing it, and I'll just preface this with saying it's hard to find these, but every once in a while you know somebody has really gone to the extra 10th degree effort to do something. And you really feel that that wasn't necessary, that it didn't really add that much to what they were doing. Then here's how you can go about helping them. So I'm going to use my fancy technical animation here to slide the board across and give you a list that you can follow to walk through comfortably and tell somebody that they're overdoing it. Because believe me, if you just tell somebody they're overdoing it, that's not going to come across so well. Number one, you should be positive, because there's nothing wrong with what they've done. It's great, right? Now, maybe if they've eliminated every on, that seems a little bit weird. But if I use fancy animations, there's nothing wrong with the video that's fancy animations. So first and foremost, say, hey, everything's great, and be positive. Second, tell them that you've got some feedback for them that they should feel completely comfortable ignoring, because everything was great. So you know what? If you don't agree with me on this, just completely ignore what I have to say. So you're setting the stage up to present your observation, allow them to decide if they want to act upon it. Which brings you to number 3, which is to first start with telling them what you've observed. So in the case of all these animations on the video, you could explain the animations specifically are what you think are above and beyond what's necessary. Tell them what you observe and then ask them to confirm if they agree that that was overdoing it. Now, perhaps I have somebody that helps me with animations and I really don't care what it takes them to add in the animations. And in that situation, I might not care. I might just disagree and ignore what you have to say because to me, it's not an extra effort. It's not much effort. I'm not overdoing it. However, if I'm doing those animations myself and I'm spending 2 hours on them and I'm really frustrated because I'd like to create more of these videos, but I have all this work to do on animations, I might really welcome your observation that you think a whiteboard would just suffice. If they confirm that they agree with you, what inevitably happens is you open up a conversation about discussing what exactly success means. So instead of raising the bar, you're talking about lowering the bar, but you don't want to lower the bar too far. So in bringing the bar down, you can say, you know what, success is about right here. You're up here. So you can bring that bar down to this level and everything will be just fine. And you can go back and forth, but the important thing is you want to understand what they have to say as success. Not what you think success means, but listen to their objectives for what success means to them. And then you can comfortably set a bar together. And if that happens, and they're open to the idea, perhaps you even want to ask before you do this, you could propose alternatives. Much like I did in these 3 situations, you could propose, you know what, this is a $5,000 proposal. If it were a $500,000 proposal, maybe we'd worry about a 4th or a 5th draft. But this is a $5,000 proposal. How about on the going forward in the future, these small proposals, we just write them one time and we move on. In the situation with video effects, I can't think of any situation where just trying to convey knowledge would necessitate these awesome animations. So perhaps you could say, you know what, for these videos where you're just trying to educate people, how about you focus on getting more of them out and use a whiteboard to do that, right? That would be even more successful. And number 3, with ahs and ums, you could just simply say, don't worry about it. If you have an ah or an here and there, no big deal. I'll let you know when it gets to a point where it's confusing to me when I'm listening to you. If you do this, and you help people understand, not just when they want to raise the bar, but when they could lower the bar and still be comfortable, you can really help people hone in on a success zone and accomplish a lot more with this type of feedback.